Hey, it's Joseph here. I'm in a different setup today because I wanted to test a few things out in this space. I understand there's gonna be some echoing going around, but this is how we're gonna roll today. I think that is looking pretty good, isn't it? So this is a little space. I say little space, but it's quite massive. I would say about 30 feet by 30 feet space, and then some sort of kitchen area in the back. This is actually a clubhouse to my community or the homes that are nearby. So I live just right across. And the builder of this community here, which is a Parkside builder, they have allowed me to shoot this video. So I wanted to use this opportunity to show you how Matterport works. Actually, recently I've done a Matterport video using Insta360 One X, and that video really did well, and I wanted to kind of follow up on that because there are a few things that I either missed out or some of the things that I wanted to mention and add on to. So today's video is gonna be something about that. So follow along if this interests you. So if any of you follow my channel, you probably have noticed that I have purchased Insta360 One R, which is in my pocket right now. Something like this. So it's a tiny little package. I would say arguably similar size as One X. It's a little bit thicker, and actually this has a little mount on it, so if I get rid of this, so I would say that's pretty tiny, which is good. It's about the GoPro size. It actually comes with a cage, but the problem with the cage is that it is sitting on a GoPro mount, which allows it to be hinged like these, and then the 360 shots that you get out of this camera is not gonna be perfectly aligned. Whereas I'm just using this metal phone mount. It's normally meant for phones to be mounted where you just kind of stretch and then mount your phone. And you have 1/4" thread on one side where you can just mount onto the tripod. Actually, this works just fine for One R as well. So I just kind of stretch it and then mount onto like this, and then just use the 1/4" thread that is on the bottom of this mount here. So that's how I am actually using this, so that way it kind of ensures it to be mounted flat. I kind of use this as my main mount at the moment, as I'm not using it as an action camera. Yeah, it is gonna fall out if I pull it out, or if it falls, and it's not as stable as the original case, but for the purpose of 360 capturing and photos, this works just fine. I'm not swinging the stick around. And speaking of the stick, so this is a stick, and that's all I carry. So all I need to carry is this one, the stick, and then my phone. I'll get to that in a bit. The way I made this was the whole set that I have purchased from Insta360. Something that I had to learn was that I don't need to twist this one. I actually just pull it out and it just comes out, and this is as far as it gets. So it's really meant for like a selfie type of shoot, and you can mount the normal case and then you just kind of angle it up so that everything is looking at you. And this is quite light. It is much lighter than other selfie stick that I have. But unfortunately, this is not quite long enough. If I put this on the floor, then it barely reaches my waist, although I'm small. So I'm just using this as an extra extension of other selfie stick. The other one that I actually purchased, this is also selfie stick, but it's a little bit different. And actually, we had this as part of Insta360 One X. If you look for different length of a selfie stick, then you'll find those. But this is a longer version. Basically, it reaches a lot further, and this one is a one that I had introduced on the other video, was that you have to twist to allow it to be extended full length. This is a full length. So if I put it on the floor, it comes about to my height here, and then I can collapse it by just unlocking it, and then I can twist so that it just stays put. And if I need to extend it, I just do that. So what I do is, they both have a 1/4" thread at the bottom of their base. So what I do is I basically put this other shorter one on top, and then mount the camera. And before that, actually at the very base, I have this other tripod. And I showed different tripod base last time on the Insta360 One X video. I have shown different type of tripod base. It was kind of flat on its side, so it showed more on the video. So I decided to go with this solution where it is much thinner, so even if the base shows on the floor, on the 360 shot, it's not as much as the other one. For the purpose of Matterport, actually they remove and blur out the base anyway, so you don't really see anything. This solution is pretty much the same as the other one. It's just that I just kind of favored this kind of much thinner solution, although it is probably not as robust. But this is all metal and it's quite solid, so I'm liking it so far. I'll leave a link in the description for all of these 3 products, and I'm gonna have to find the link for the camera mount too, the phone mount that I'm using. So I'll try and put all of those links in the description for you guys to purchase if needed. And speaking of link to purchase, I'll also leave a affiliated link for Insta360 cameras, including One R. I do get a small commission, so if you choose to buy the camera, I'll be grateful if you use that link to purchase it. So I'll be sure to leave all of those links in the description. And for those of you who already have purchased through my link, thank you very much. This is as much as the setup goes. I would usually leave a lens cap, but by the way, the lens cap comes with the camera this time. Yeah, I just have left that out, but this is my entire setup for the 3D scan. So all I need to do is just untwist this, extend that, and make sure the feet part is spread out, and just put it onto the floor, and then just pull this little bit, because I like taking shots at my eye level, so I just extend it, so maybe a little bit taller because I'm a little bit shorter than the average height. That's how I usually do it. By the way, I think I need to show you the space. Okay, so that's as far as the camera setup, and let's talk about the Matterport software itself. So previously on my last video, I actually mentioned that Matterport doesn't work for Insta360 One R. Officially, Matterport doesn't work with Insta360 One R just yet. But if you have access to their beta, then you can actually use Insta360 One R as well. Their beta is available for Android phones, so this phone is actually not iPhone, but it actually works if you can get access to the beta. It took me a while to get access, so I think there's a list and queue of people that they can actually allow. There's a fixed amount of people is what I believe, but you can sign up on their website. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to go to that sign up, but as long as you have access to it, the beta for the Android phone actually has ability to shoot with Insta360 One R. So I've got an Android phone and then Insta360 One R that works together to do a Matterport 3D scan. And just as a side note, if you actually own an iPhone, you can actually scan the space without any 360 camera. I don't know about the accuracy and the convenience of just using a phone. I haven't really tested myself because I don't have an iPhone to do with. If you have an iPhone, I suppose you can do that. They are working to use just Android phones for the 3D capture as well, but that is just not available for any other people to use just yet. So I'm just speaking for what we currently have. I certainly don't know the accuracy of how much I can get out of either the Android phone or iPhone, so I do like having a dedicated camera for that purpose. And also this does 360 photo as well, so it just kind of makes sense for me to have this dedicated camera for me to offer as a service where I can scan the space and also give them 360 photos. So that's what I've been doing here, and I just kind of wanted to show you the walkthrough of how I go about doing this. So here on the phone, I can just go to the App Store and download a Capture app, which I just started here. You can just tap on this plus button. The workflow is pretty much the same as what I did last time with the Insta360 One X in the iPad. So here I can just dedicate a showcase name, Clubhouse, and then I can just click on this save here, and then it's gonna prompt me to have a camera connected. So I just need to turn on this camera. And by the way, a lot of you have asked me what sort of settings do I use. So the camera and the phone, neither of them allow you to change any settings. It just does things by itself. You kind of have to rely on Matterport to handle everything, and there's kind of limited functions that you can do. You can either hide or remove that specific location. So the tip is to turn on all the lights in the scene so that it gets maximum amount of light so the space looks as great as possible. So the camera just kind of turned off by itself after going into sleep because I've been talking too much. But here I've already got Insta360 One R connected. If it doesn't do it by itself, you can actually go to Wi-Fi and make sure it is detected, and then you can connect to. And that is just pretty similar workflow if you actually own this camera. So you just connect to this Wi-Fi and it will detect it. It's just gone into sleep, but I can tell it it is still on and the Wi-Fi is still active. My phone is still connected because I see a little light here, indicator, and also I see Insta360 One R here. So from here, I can just start scanning the space. And actually the tip is you have to hit the button when you are not in the scene. So I need to get either around that wall or go into one of the restrooms on one side. So let me go and scan the space. So as soon as the camera does the scanning, it makes a little shutter sound, the digital sound, and then it basically captures and transfers over to your phone, and then your phone does aligning itself. And after aligning, this is pretty much what it looks like. As you can see on the screen, yeah, it is a 360 photo basically, but it kind of detects what's around the space. So it already kind of started getting all the edges around this space. So I can either zoom in or out to see what is going on. And it is kind of dark in the areas where it wasn't able to get any data. So all I need to do is move this stick and plant onto different places. Okay, so I'm gonna move around and put it in different spots. So I already started filling the space, and you can already see how it started to fill itself. It is still aligning, so aligning takes a little bit of time for your phone to think and orient the photos and the location with what it's got, but you've got to make sure those are the spots that you actually scan from. There are a few occasions where this is not able to align things correctly. Either you have low overlap or just a very repeating pattern of the space that it is kind of confusing your phone to do so. But in most case scenarios, if you kind of keep them kind of close by, at least within, I don't know, I would say 10 feet in sort of distance, then it usually does everything pretty well. And because this is unstable, because everything is beta at this point, there are a few things that I have noticed that kind of is not normal. And one thing is, if I were to try and delete one of the scans, so if I go to delete scan, it actually says, oops, failed to delete scan, ID must not be empty. So I need to do my due diligence of reporting this to Matterport so that they actually know I'm sure they already know, but I'll make sure to do that after this video. But this is something that I have noticed that is not able to delete. So if something shows up misaligned, then either you have to start over the scanning process from the beginning, or one trick that I have found was to put that specific scan onto different floor and then remove the floor. Then that'll effectively get rid of that specific scan. So that's the trick that I have found because I have had that occasion. Other than that, everything works pretty much as expected. So it has been working very well for me. I think I have to fill up that corner on the side as well. So I need to scan over there. So by the way, if you have some sort of mirror in the space, then you've got to make sure the stick or the camera doesn't really show up in your scan. Make sure before you press that button, you have hidden in the space, or plan out your scan so that you know where you're gonna hide to. So in this case, I'm gonna put the camera right there so I can just hide behind the wall again. And apparently I'm missing one corner that I haven't scanned just yet, which is one over there. So let me angle the camera so you guys see what I'm going to do, and then I'll walk over there. And another thing to mention is if there is a huge blind spot due to high furniture or the countertops that is occupying the space, then what I do is I just reduce the height of this tripod and actually put this one on top of the countertop. And if you actually don't want to show that specific scan, then you can actually hide on the Matterport. But I scan it anyways because I want to make sure I have accurate scan of the space. So let me go ahead and put this one on the countertop too. Did I just call it countertop? It's more like a standing, what do you call it? A table, right? So I've got to scan the rest of the space over there. So let me turn the camera. And by the way, there's another tip here. So the camera is always going to have much better shots through that way and the one through that way. It's going to have little stitching that is going to be visible to the viewers to the sides because it digitally stitches all together. So you want to make sure you angle it so that you see the more primary shot. So in this case, you're less likely to see that wall or that wall. You're probably gonna see this way the most if you're panning around 360 shots. So I wanna angle the camera in sort of this way so that everything in this angle is more clear. And here I have noticed one thing. The countertop is actually showing as misaligned. So the very last shot was captured, but Matterport kind of failed to align it correctly. So what I'm gonna do, basically create different floor. So here's the trick that I was talking about. So this one I'm just gonna call it remove, save. So this is now onto a different floor. So go back to that floor and then click on this move floor and to the remove floor. Once that shot is moved onto this floor, you'll see that this shot, things are looking better. I'm noticing that 11 is also wrong. So I'm gonna put that onto remove floor as well. Okay, things are looking much better here. So let's go ahead and edit and then remove the floor. Remove the remove floor. So that way the accidental misaligned shots has been removed. So I gotta go back to those spots, basically this spot here again, and see how it aligns. Hopefully it will align. Otherwise I have to just kind of go closer to the previous scan so everything aligns correctly. All right, that showed up correctly. So I'm gonna go onto the opposite corner and then scan there as well. that is how I'm gonna leave this scan, and all I need to do is once I have a viable Wi-Fi, because I don't want to push this through my data, but I just need to go and upload that specific scan, and then Matterport will process it on their server and email me once the scan is available to me. Unfortunately, I have used an example on my last video that was on Matterport's website, the ones that they have made and they promote, and obviously it was done with a much better, higher grade camera that they sell, and the quality wasn't the same as what I would get off of on these 360 cameras. So you should expect lower quality of the scan, but does it do the job? Yes, absolutely. I find it really convenient carrying the camera, because all you need to carry is a camera in your pocket and a long stick. Whereas if you were to use the Matterport's actual scanning devices, they're huge, and they also have to be carried in much bigger protective casing and all. So for convenience, it's absolute winner. And does it get the job done? It probably isn't as accurate as those, but it does get the job done. And the people who looks at these 360 scan is still very amazed with the results. So you can certainly offer that as a service. Anyways, once this scan is uploaded, I'll make it available as a link, and I'll leave that in the description for you guys to actually check out the quality and all. In my case, I may not be able to have that link active forever, but at least for some time I'll be able to have that so that you guys could see what the result is like. So notice how this is off now since it's gone from sleep to off, and it was actually on the sleep stage whilst I'm scanning. So the screen doesn't even come on whilst I'm doing the scan. So after one small space scan, it still has 83%. So I can actually last quite long with one battery. And mind you, because this is modular, if you can afford extra battery, you can just swap it if you need to. I haven't had purchased a secondary battery, so I need to rely on its battery capacity. Switching to One R have me much better battery life than what I used to have with One X, so I just kind of wanted to mention that. So I think that is it for this video. I hope this video was useful for you. I enjoyed making this video. Thank you, Parkside, again for allowing me to shoot in this space. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to check out what they do. They're great builders. They actually built my house, and I've been loving it so far. So if you have liked this content, please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to continue watching these type of videos. I really liked shooting in this space. What did you guys think? And thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you next time. Bye.